Have you noticed something strange about marketing lately? Brands aren't struggling to come up with the ideas anymore. They are struggling to produce enough of them. When you think about campaigns get approved, then people write scripts, book production, hire talent, and then they shoot, edit, and wait for a feedback. It takes weeks before the ad goes live, and almost immediately, you are thinking about the next one. For years, we have accepted this as normal. But here's the question nobody's asking anymore. What if production was never supposed to be the bottleneck? Because in 2026, it isn't. The biggest shift in marketing isn't that AI can generate videos, it's that creative production has become software. Hello and welcome to Autonomous Marketing Playbook, a podcast by Cognitute, where we explore how AI, automation, and modern marketing are reshaping the way business grow. I'm your host, and every week we'll break down one shift that's changing marketing, not with the hype, but with practical insights, real world examples, and strategies you can actually apply. A year ago, if you wanted 10 versions of an ad, you probably needed a larger budget. Today, you need a better prompt. That's an entirely different problem to solve. And that's exactly why tools like Google's Veo, Kling, and Runway matter. Not because they are replacing filmmakers, because they are removing the waiting period and cutting out the lengthy process. Let's be clear AI isn't replacing your flagship brand film. If you're launching a new car, announcing a rebrand, or producing a cinematic campaign that defines your identity, you'll still want a production team. But that's maybe 5% of what your marketing team actually creates. The other 95% product explainers, seasonal offers, performance ads, regional language variations, retargeting creatives, social first content. That's where traditional production starts becoming expensive. Not because each video costs too much, but because marketing today demands volume. And volume has always been the hardest thing to scale until now. Here's what changed. The conversation used to be about quality. Can AI make realistic videos? That's the wrong question in 2026. The better question is, can AI produce enough high quality creative fast enough for modern marketing? The answer is yes. Today's models don't just generate visuals, they generate movement, camera angles, lighting, ambient sound, music, voice, sometimes even dialogue. What used to involve multiple teams can now happen inside a single workflow. That doesn't eliminate human creativity, it removes production friction. And there's where most businesses miss the opportunity. They think AI video is about saving money. It isn't. Saving money is a side effect. The real advantage is learning faster. Imagine launching 12 creative variations instead of 2. By the end of the week, you know which opening hook keeps attention, which background converts better, which call to action actually drives purchases, which emotional angle resonates with first time buyers. You are no longer guessing, you are collecting evidence. Every creative become an experiment. Every experiment makes the next campaign smarter. That's a competitive advantage that compounds. This is why performance marketers are excited, not because AI makes prettier videos, because Meta, YouTube, and every major advertising platform reward fresh creative. The brands that consistently introduce new variations almost always outperform brands recycling the same asset for months. For years, marketers understood this. They just couldn't produce enough content to keep up. Now they can. Let's imagine a skincare brand launching a new sunscreen. Traditionally, they'd create one hero video, maybe two shorter edits. Those assets would be stretched across every campaign until performance dropped. Now imagine a different workflow. One product, 15 video variations with different openings, setting, and calls to action. Some are playful, some are educational. Within days, the campaign begins telling you what works. The winning ideas aren't decided in a boardroom, they are discovered in the market. That's a very different way of doing marketing. And this is where automation becomes more important than generation. Creating videos isn't difficult anymore. Building a system around them is. Imagine this: a marketer writes a brief, the AI generates 5 video concepts. The approved versions automatically move into review. Once approved, they are published across channels. Performance data comes back into the dashboard. The next creative brief is written using what actually worked. That's no longer a collection of AI tools. That's creative operating system. That's where forward-thinking marketing teams are heading. So where should be you begin? Don't overhaul your marketing overnight. Choose one campaign, one product, generate 5 creative variations instead of one. Test them, study the results, improve the next 5. The goal isn't to replace your creative team, it's to give them more opportunities to create, test, and learn. Because the brands that win over the next few years won't necessarily have the biggest budgets, they will have the fastest learning loops. Marketing has always rewarded companies that adapt quickly. AI doesn't change that principle, it simply removes the friction that used to slow learning down. The companies treating AI as a cheaper production house will probably save money. The companies treating it as a creative intelligence system will build something much harder to copy. And that's the shift worth paying attention to. I'm glad you joined me for this episode of Autonomous Marketing Playbook. I'll see you in the next episode.